Like, we spent so much time on preamble. By the time we get done with this, I'm going to be fucking starving. But
Oh, sorry. I forgot. I'm sorry. We are in the bad time of the year where we are 5 hours apart, and that sucks for lining up our when.
Only another, like, 2 or 3 months of that, I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll get there.
Everything got messed up today. It's fine. We can survive.
I got 2 hours of sleep last night.
Yeah,
everything did get messed up today.
It's not great.
All right, weird day.
We can truly keep this one short. Maybe.
No, we can't. No.
We can try. We can always try. The day we stop trying is the day we are truly defeated.
All right, we're just gonna chill. We're just gonna talk.
Just gonna chill and talk.
What happens.
Exactly.
That's what people really come for.
That's what
they don't come for hot takes. They don't come for my shitty jokes. They just come for the chill vibes.
We're just gonna have the chill vibes. Gonna have a nice conversation to have on in the background, and just relax to the soothing sound of talking about power metal.
All right. Do you wanna take us in then?
I do want. Sup Nerds, welcome to Powerful, the Power Metal Podcast. We are actually still doing the podcast. It doesn't feel like it, but we do. It just takes forever, and we do it every now and then, but we do it. And we are now back in here for the first episode of 2023. I'm Fernando, in case you forgot, and I'm here with my good friend Kyle.
Hello there.
Who's been suffering all the giant storms that are destroying the California coast, but
yeah,
we will prevail.
Caledon Stormblessed over here.
Exactly. But we will prevail, and we're still gonna bring you this through the rain. Don't mind that it's taking like, I don't know, 6 months to do an episode. I don't want to remember.
Don't worry about it. You know, it's a good time to look back, to look ahead. You know, everyone does their like top of whatever the year shit in like December. You know, hey, not everything's out yet. You haven't properly sat on everything yet. January is actually the best time to do the year in review type stuff. So we're really killing it right here.
Yeah, this is like the proper way. I know we used to rush it. Now we don't rush it. We give us plenty of time to actually listen to all the albums.
The only thing we rush is our preparation before the time we start recording.
Yeah, you don't want to know how much it takes. It's not like you're missing that much. It's just a couple more hours of checking stuff on catching up.
All right. Well, to start us off, how are you feeling about power metal coming out of 2022? I'm feeling pretty good. Since I kept a whole Excel sheet of the albums I listened to this year. In total, I think there are 54 albums. I gave general recommendations to 23 of them, a little under half. But we've talked about a lot of those on the podcast before. I'm going to talk about more of them today. How are you feeling with your extensive power metal listening this year?
My extensive, completely untouchable track record listening to power
is the word metal. That comes to mind.
Yeah. It's like amazingly curated, and it touches every corner of every release. But
like every country, every sub-genre, every size of band.
It's so obscure.
It's all there.
You've never heard about any of the stuff that I've listened to.
By the time Fernando listened to it, it was already not obscure enough.
Yeah, so there's no point talking about it, basically. Okay, so
that's why we should talk about one of the biggest power metal bands, being Blind Guardian.
The good old Blind Guardian. That, man, what a release in 2022.
It only took 7.5 years since fucking Red Mirror to come out. But my God, they finally did it.
It's like there's no way to overstate how much people were waiting for this release. It was like the most anticipated release, like since their live show. If you remember, during the lockdowns, their streamed live show from Wacken.
The digital Wacken thing that they did.
And when they played one of the new songs that ended up on this album, I think you will remember back then, if you were listening, if you were around the power metal spheres or just from listening to us, that we called that the show that saved power metal at the time because we were all down in a rut and we were able to all coming together online and listen and watch that show and experience a new song by Blind Guardian and a show that was very focused on an older style, just riffing it away. And it was great. And the new album came actually delivered with this older style of Blind Guardian. More,
sort of.
I think it's compared to the previous two albums, it's like way more deal towards the older side of their catalog.
Yeah, this album is a very interesting one for me because I'm almost like split down the middle on it with the way the songs are written. There are the ones that definitely are evocative of that older, more straightforward Blind Guardian style, especially compared to At the Edge of Time and Beyond the Red Mirror, with how sort of bloated those ones got with orchestration and stuff. There's a lot of songs on this ones that just kind of go back to that 90s Blind Guardian of like, we're going to riff fast and we're going to riff good and it's going to be great. That's why you've got the songs like Deliver Us From Evil, the aforementioned Violent Shadows. I really like Blood of the Elves, which we talked about a lot when that single came out. That just pure style right there is what gets me every time.
Yeah, I really love Deliver Us From Evil. Violent Shadows is still my favorite song on that album.
Mm-hmm.
Secret of the American Gods, it's also really good and really cool. It's not...
That one grew on me after it was a single.
Because it's not like the faster, straight heavy metal thing, but it's actually very nice. And it has a very nice structure and everything. And I think the vocals are really good there.
The climax of that song, I think, is really good too.
Obviously,
at the end.
The performance is great in all the songs, but the way it's written, it's one of the better ones. And honestly, the whole album is very nice to listen to in full, which is, for me at least, very rare lately.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about songs that kind of split the difference? I'd say things like Damnation or Architects of Doom, where I was almost sort of let down by those in a way, because I think the chorus in particular just kind of like, we've built up so much energy and then we just hit the brakes and it's like, wait, what are we doing here? Because there are parts of those songs that really do bring back that energy, but I feel like those flow really awkwardly and they haven't quite clicked with me yet.
I agree that sometimes the breaks are hit too hard, but I still like the overall pacing in context. Like I don't listen to those songs by themselves, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't go back to them, which I would do with the other songs. With the Deliver Us From Evil and Violent Shadows are the songs that I listen to the most. But when I listen to the full album, I think the pacing is pretty nice, but maybe it's just because I'm older. I don't know.
You know, you're old, you're tired.
Yeah.
The one that I think kind of resonated with me maybe the least would be the last song, Destiny. I think they're going for this almost like spooky, like cold vibe to it that isn't really something I expect from Blind Guardian. I respect them wanting to do something a bit out of the norm there, but maybe just like as an album closer, I'm just like, really? We're not. That's all we're doing.
Yeah.
And that one never really grabbed me. I think it has the fewest plays on Spotify, coming right after the really fast Blood of the Elves. That one is probably the most jarring as far as like stylistic mix-ups for me go.
Yeah, it's a bit, man. Well, we're at the end too, so it's like.
Plus, Blind Guardian usually has really strong, like big epic finishes to their albums. Like a lot of the previous ones have like some 10-minute fuck off epic track, which I can understand. They wanted to simplify for this one, but still, I feel like that one just didn't quite hit for me. And I think ending on a stronger note would have put the album up even higher for me. But it's still one of my favorites of the year, just because even like a mixed Blind Guardian album is still a Blind Guardian album. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. But we didn't only listen to Blind Guardian. Of course, Kyle listened to some other cool stuff, like this band that I don't know about.
Yeah, so right around the time Blind Guardian came out, there was also a release from Brymir, which is a Finnish mellow death band. Now, they've been around for a while. I think this is their fourth album. This is the album Voices in the Sky. And I've previously liked pretty much all their other albums, usually snagging like a few songs here and there from them. But this one I thought was just a step above all their other albums. It's really quite excellent. Just all the songs are super catchy, super riffy. They've got great use of multiple styles of vocals with like really choral stuff and the harsh stuff. They'll bring in like cool solos and cool acoustic little bits or cool keyboardy bits. It's just really one of those things that's like all the cool shit that Melodeath does really well. And these guys have really finally hit something that really resonated with me pretty much the whole way through. So if you are in the mood for some Melodeath, I highly recommend checking this one out.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to Brymir, whose name I've not pronounced correctly until now.
We all learn at some point. That's the beauty of it. We can get better. But man, whenever we read some band names, if we don't look at like what country they are from, or even looking at them, we might just make the wrong assumption of how they are pronounced. And it's always funny because you and I have very different initial assumptions on how band names are pronounced. So we end up checking.
Coming from American English and Argentinian Spanish, it's gonna be different. It's gonna be weird.
But it's good because it makes us check for real. We don't just
because like
go.
The way I say shit in my head, the way you say shit in your head probably do not line up a lot of the time.
Yeah, so we always need to check because we'll just say it differently. But sounds like a good recommendation, which I'll
for sure. I didn't listen to a ton of Melodeath this year. I know we talked about Necronomicon earlier, which is kind of strange Melodeath. This is a lot more straightforward than that. Definitely worth a recommendation, though.
Nice. What else do you have to recommend?
So I want to do another weird one. This was not just a weird one, but a collab, a crossover event of the century. I want to talk about Ultima Grace. I feel like I saw very little promotion for this, despite somewhat relatively big names involved. This was a collaboration between Yuki, the keyboardist for Galderia, and Annette Olsen, formerly of Nightwish.
What, really?
Yes.
Holy
this
shit.
exactly, right?
What?
This is the whole album that exists, and like nobody heard about it.
Oh my god!
But it's really good. So take like the more keyboardy kind of funky Galderia style songs, so like without the CU shredding all over them, and then toss like Annette's like sort of poppy vocals on top of it, and you got a really fun like symphonic power metal album that nobody can listen to.
Oh my god!
But it's really good.
We need to fix that. I didn't know this existed.
It's on the list.
I feel completely blindsided by this because in theory,
it seems like something you would be really into.
Yeah, in theory, I love this. Oh my god.
Yeah, I think the production on Annette's vocals sound really weird, but maybe it's just a stylistic choice.
Oh no!
But you get used to it. There's a lot of really fun stuff in that album.
Man, I'm gonna check this out later for sure.
And like right around the same time as this, Annette did a crossover with I think Russell Allen that kind of sucked. So I at first was like kind of dismissive of like, oh, another Annette Olsen crossover album. But no, this one's really good.
I like that Annette is doing stuff. It feels good.
Yeah, she's still floating around, like because like she collaborated with Yanni for was it Dark not Dark Connection.
The Dark
Element.
Dark Element, yeah.
Yeah, like those albums are pretty fun. She's, like I said, did this one with Yuki. She did the one with Russell Allen. She's collaborating with power metal people from all over the world.
Yeah, like
which is cool to see.
Honestly, collaborating with Yuki is so unexpected because we don't see a lot of crossover between the Japanese bands and the rest of the world in general.
Normally, like you'll see like crossovers within Japan, but coming outside of it like that, I thought it was extremely unusual. Like when I first saw it described, it sounds like fan fiction, right?
Yeah, definitely. Because it's not like Yuki is not a big name, relatively speaking, but you wouldn't expect to be like him, the keyboard player from Galderia, the one to be in a collab with someone from the West with a big history. It's like, I don't know, she would have made more sense, but man, this is so cool. I need to check it. I feel bad.
You would have expected they get like,
I can't believe I didn't know about
it or
this.
Something.
I can't.
Yeah, like
believe
look at
it.
the Spotify plays. Like it's like a couple thousand on every song.
It's like, so small. It doesn't. Oh man,
Like you've probably got songs with more plays than this. You do.
I do.
Yeah,
This is a crime.
it is. Right?
What? Oh my god! It has 10 songs, barely over 1,000. Some of them. Wow.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna listen to it. I hope whoever's listening will check it.
Yeah, like there's a lot of stuff I'm kind of recommending here between like big names, comebacks, debuts. Now we got a weird crossover going in there as well.
Man, this is great. I love how this is going.
Well, I wanted to get back into the more mainstream stuff of power metal. I want to talk a little bit about Stratovarius.
Stratovarius. Do you remember that name? According to Herman Lee, they are coming back, which is weird to say about Stratovarius.
It's just been a long time since the
but
last album.
They've been playing nonstop forever. They were always there.
Yeah, they've been doing shows and festivals and shit even before COVID. Now during COVID because they were at Prague Power this year. So, I think people think Stratovarius and they think like Destiny or like Honey High and Low, just so like this like 90s maybe 2000s stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like Stratovarius, they never really stopped.
Yeah,
like maybe they slow down here and there. Like there's lots of drama with like Team Otolki over the years, whatever.
Yeah, but that was forever ago.
I think it looms over them. Like think about Nightwish. Like drama they never leave behind the drama.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I think we all have this bias, like everything big that happens at the start of the careers of bands, and especially if it happened before we started listening to them, that's like, oh yeah, that's when everything stops. Time stops there, and everything after is like just after that time, like thinking about how many years
this mental break, the before times and the after, and where that break is can make a big difference. But everything at the after period is just like it can get way bigger than it actually seems.
It's like I think I'm not the only one that has this problem, but thinking of Metallica and of Robert Trujillo being the new bass player.
And how long has he been the bass player?
More than all the others combined.
Or like think about Blind Guardian, because they've had Fred as their drummer about as long as they had Tommen originally. They're both about 20 years each at this point. He's not the new drummer anymore.
Yeah, exactly. But it feels like that.
He does feel like the new guy.
It's like Floor being the new Nightwish vocalist. But how long?
Like she was doing live shows 10 years ago with them.
Yeah.
That like Vakken video that everyone jizzes their pants to was, I'm pretty sure, it was 2013.
Oh man.
Where does the time go?
Well, nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense. But the only thing that makes sense is that I saw Stratovarius live in 2019 and it was awesome.
Yeah, I saw him in 2022. Still awesome. And hey, their album Survive this year, also pretty awesome. It's similar to Blind Guardian. Took them 7-ish years since the last one, Eternal. But I'm really liking this one. It feels like they haven't really missed a beat as far as everything goes. Like Timo's vocals still sound great. Jens's keyboards are still great. Solos are great. Songs are fun to listen to. Like, I don't think this album has like stuck with me through the year or throughout the end of the year as much as some other ones. But every time I come back to it, I'm like, oh hell yeah, this is great. This is fun.
I want to say the same thing.
For as many times as you came back to this album this year, correct?
Yeah, like 3 times that I clicked. Okay, so the
in
thing
the last
is
30 minutes
that I was busy with stuff especially when the album came out. I guess like
came out at a really bad time for you.
It came out at a bad time. We didn't even realize it came out at that time. And then things happened, and then I forgot that it came out at all.
It's one of the biggest names in power metal, and
because I am bad. I'm
you're
sorry.
Bad and you're busy.
I am very sorry. I don't listen only to power metal, and I forget stuff exists all the time. But that's a me problem, not a Stratovarius problem. We were talking about this just a few minutes ago, but well, not a few minutes, when we started, before we started recording this episode, that the day this album came out, we actually saw it at a record store. And I remember seeing it like, oh, look, that's the new Stratovarius album, because I had seen the artwork from the single they released many, many months before that. And when I saw it,
Survive artwork,
yeah, and when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, this album has been out for a long time. I didn't listen to it. I'll get to it eventually. But that was not the case, and because in my brain at the time it was like, oh, maybe it wasn't that good because I don't remember us talking about it. I don't remember how this album sounds. But I actually had
I haven't seen anyone talk about it in the last 3 months. Maybe it's not that good.
And I hadn't actually, but it hadn't come out till then.
Yeah.
So that was why. And we didn't buy it or anything. We were just like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And then I forgot.
Oh, we had a Sabaton show to get to.
Yeah. And I completely forgot all up till
we
today.
Can blame the Sabaton show.
We can blame Sabaton for destroying my brain. And we can talk about that a bit later in the episode.
Sure.
But man, I'm sorry. And I quickly sampled some of the songs, and I am going to listen to this. I am very, very interested because the little snippets that I listened to were really, really cool. Like, not traditional Stratovarius 100%, but with some more riffy things that are more interesting, but then blended with the old Stratovarius style.
I don't think it has like the same like innate catchiness as some of their classic like Eagle Heart or whatever type shit. I think it's a bit more heavy on the guitars and a bit more on the riffy side, depending on which song you're listening to. But it's still very good to listen to.
I need to get to it, and it seems to be like a solid recommendation for real. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I am terribly sorry. This is like destroying my credibility.
Yeah, I had people in the subreddit getting mad at me for not putting it in my top 10. So oh well.
I'm sorry to everyone, but I will listen to it after we record this. I promise. Oh man, I feel so bad. I would go see Stratovarius live again. Don't worry, like without thinking. That's for sure.
For sure, they were very good live. I had a lot of fun with them. All right, well, maybe you're not keeping up on the big releases. Maybe we'll want to keep it more down low. We're gonna keep it a bit more subtle. We're gonna go venture into the Dark Forest again.
Dark Forest.
Because the Dark Forest, a lovely little band from the UK. Every few years, I think their last album was in 2020. I want to say, with Oak, Ash, and Thorn. They just did a release this year with Ridge and Furrow. Smaller album, just an EP, 4.5 songs, I believe. But man, it is solid to listen to. Especially the opening track, Skylark, would be one of my songs of the year. If I had like a top 5 songs, that's definitely on there. These guys have such a trademark style that I feel like I never hear in any other band, where it's this like sort of traditional, sort of folky, sort of powery, like literally foresty type of guitar tone that's just so comforting to listen to. It's not very dark, I would say, but it's a comfortable forest, not so much a dark forest.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I listened to Skylark because our friend Larry has been sharing it like every week.
Yeah, he's been aggressively sharing that one.
Past couple months. I enjoyed it.
The last song, Under the Greenwood Tree, is also very nice.
Okay. I obviously need to check the other songs. I know I enjoyed that one, but I didn't go back to it as much. And also I am very, very sensitive to someone sharing the same song over and over without stop.
Does it like build up too much of an expectation for you?
No, it creates, it turns it into an annoying thing to me. So I never check it.
Where it's like, oh man, I've seen this commercial too many times. I'm never going to buy this thing now.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly the feeling. But based on your recommendation, I will check the whole thing. And I think everyone should, because the people that talk about it all the time, they are really enjoying it. So it must have merit. Yeah.
Exactly. And just to put other things into perspective here, Like all of these songs have over 5,000 on Spotify compared to the like 1,000 that Ultima Grace album had. Even this band that like nobody has heard of in like in fuck off England.
Yeah.
Compared to like people from big name bands can get more plays because the world doesn't make sense these days.
I did listen to their previous thing, Oh Gosh and Fun. And it was also like, I enjoy this.
Yes.
But that's it for me.
Yeah, I think that's it's there's an easy floor there of this is enjoyable.
Yeah.
I think it's very easy to get into.
It's
even if you don't like love it.
Yeah, it's not a super big hitter for me, but it's nice to have to listen to in your playlist or radio.
I think it all comes down to like the vibe. Like if you're feeling that specific vibe, because I don't get that from anywhere else in the metal world. I'm sure maybe it exists somewhere, but these guys are special.
Good stuff, I guess.
All right, so we're gonna go out of the Dark Forest and into the Dragonland. One of the biggest, maybe the biggest comeback of the year.
I said before that Blind Guardian was the most anticipated release of 2022, but that's in the background of that's the normal albums. Then it's the Dragonland hype that's been going on since I don't want to know when. Like everyone.
Okay, so Dragonland's previous album was in 2011. Like that was 11 at the time, 11 years ago, and that's a long 11 years. Okay,
oh, man.
Like, and not just that, but it's an album that is very well regarded. And so when you just leave off on that, like the myth of it all just builds over time.
Yeah,
and then it's like every year, it's like, oh man, Dragonland's gonna come back, and it's like, nah, they're not gonna come back.
Yeah, I remember just when I joined the Power Metal chat and the subreddit in 2017. All the time from then till this album release, people were talking about Under the Grey Banner and when is the new Dragonland coming out. And then it was a recurring thing to say, oh, yeah, I'm going to do this thing. Yeah, that's going to release or you're going to finish it when Dragonland's new album comes out. And every now and then, every couple of years, there will be some very minor and small update in their Facebook or something, and people go nuts.
They were never dead. Like there was always like little sparks of hope, like every year or two.
Yeah, you would say like every 2 years, a random Facebook post that would say doing things in the studio and just a picture of a computer, and people would be, it's coming, and then another 2 years.
Like, oh my god!
And finally, it actually came out. I remember. I got into this too because like I remember it wasn't the only album that's in this state of like perpetual coming, not coming. The other one was Ascension, and I remember at one point,
and then they team up.
They posted an animation that the vocalist from Ascension would be in one of the Dragonland songs. I was like, okay, does this combine both their delays and will this
compound?
Yeah, but in the end, Dragonland actually came out.
And the song with the Ascension singer Ricky it's
my favorite song
on the album.
It's
by far
best song in the album.
Amazing,
incredible.
So how did you? Because you actually listened to this whole album. I don't
listen to it.
I don't think you ever even listened to Grey Banner.
I did not listen to the Grey Banner.
You told me to remind you. I reminded you, and you still didn't fucking listen to Under the Grey Banner.
Because
at this point, you just can't ever listen to it because it won't live up to it.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, everyone talked about Under the Grey Banner and were telling me, yeah, this is the best album of the decade. Listen to this, that. And it's like, oh, that means I don't have to pay attention to it. But I actually, like, this came out, the Power of the Night Star. I happened to be like on the computer the night it came out, and people started talking about it. Oh, it's out in your time zone, whatever. So I just put it on and listened to it, and it's a good album.
Does it live up to 11 years of hype?
I didn't have the 11 years of hype, and in my head, this was like not listened to Under the Grey Banner. For me, this was like someone mentioning, yeah, we're looking forward to a Lost Horizon third album.
Oh, come on.
Which-
That's
But it was like,
that's the one that's actually dead.
yeah, I know. But the way that I think about it is like, I know there's all this legend, and I know there's a good album in there, but I also know that it's not the second coming of Jesus in power metal form.
Right.
Because
like,
that was the
for
Blind
me-
Guardian album. But no, but for real, I was like, okay, this is probably a good album. And it was a really good album. I really like The Power of the Night Star. I love A Thread from Beyond the Shadows, which is the song with Ricky Ascension in it.
Mhm.
It's great. It's interesting because I see on Spotify that it's not the most popular song on the album. I don't know
No,
why.
I don't think. I think the singles probably are like the title. Yeah, the title track.
Yeah, obviously you have the singles, but then there's a bunch of songs in it with more plays. Maybe because it's a slightly longer song.
I think the ones that get played more are the ones that like I hear Spotify just put on. So it's like the algorithm is pushing those other songs.
Yeah.
And I don't really get it, but fine.
Yeah, because
The album itself is very like spacey, keyboard heavy, generally pretty fast power metal.
yeah.
I think Jonas's vocals, I think I said his name right, are pretty much sound exactly as they did on albums a decade or two ago, which is pretty cool. I think for me, as someone who did have a decade of hype behind this, there was no way for it to live up to that. I think this album is more in line with the previous album from Dragonland called Astronomy, which is another more sci-fi-y one. This album's kind of all over the place for me. I think the end of it is what really kind of throws me off, because they have the third to last song is Final Hour. Pretty good song. Really like that one. But then after that, there's Journey's End, which is 9 minutes, and it's really boring. And then there's a cover of a song from Oblivion called Oblivion, not the game, the movie, which is also, I thought, was kind of boring. So you've got a long album, the last 15 minutes of which is kind of boring.
Yeah. So
But
I agree with that. This was another one of those cases where I'm listening to this album and I don't immediately realize that the last song is a cover,
yeah,
but it sounds completely like it's really different from everything else. It's like, obviously something is wrong. What's happening? Oh, it must be a cover.
like I was wondering, like, is this like a story thing? Like, because it's
Yeah.
like technically a concept album about like, I don't know, a space empire and a night star and spaceships go pew pew and the pilots push the engines hard, which is literally a lyric. It doesn't quite strike the grandeur of the fantasy and Under the Great Banner, because they don't have the fucking rad as hell deep voice narrator singer guy. Fred Johansson or whatever his name is, who's done like actual like big boy musical work. So that element's missing. I think they still have some of those more dramatic elements in songs like A Threat from Beyond the Shadows, where you're mixing up the singers, mixing up the vocal styles, making it just feel like that bit more epic. Like Ricky Ascension, which is just his name now,
Yeah.
and Jonas's voices really mixed together surprisingly well.
Yeah.
Which isn't really they're not two sounds I ever would have thought to put together. Because, okay, yeah, it's like, oh, there's these two albums that are never going to fucking come out ever. And getting a collaboration from them that actually turns out to be so good is just mind-blowing.
Yeah, I was really surprised by that because their voices blend together really well, but they are distinct enough that you can tell. And when I listened to this album, I forgot about the whole collaboration thing. I remember at the time I didn't even know what the collaboration was. I didn't know in which album they were gonna who's gonna be where, if they're both gonna be in each other's album or whatever. And then I was listening to this, and then that song comes out, and I'm like, "What's that voice? Wait, is that the Ascension dude? What's going on? It's so good. What the hell?"
He's a good singer, eh?
Yeah, but it's not just it's not just that, because I've had some controversial opinions on good vocalists doing guests in the past that maybe someone remembers.
They don't always write to their strengths,
yeah.
but I think they definitely did.
But here it's like, yeah, this is perfect.
Like, I don't usually feel that good about like Britney Slays' guest slots. Like, nobody writes for her as well as her own band.
Yeah.
And I think you can That's a problem that they didn't run into here.
No, this is like that's again, it's my favorite song of the whole album and the one that I go and listen to again. But the whole album is actually good. Like as someone that doesn't have the weight of Under the Great Banner behind him, this is a good album. And I was really surprised talking to people about it and seeing how jaded they are. Because all these people are like, yeah, it's finally gonna come out. It's never gonna come out. So many years. They were always saying, especially the past year when there have been more frequent updates, they were saying it's never gonna live up to the previous album. So you know that already.
It's a tough spot to be in for sure.
But that shouldn't mean that you are already putting negative points on it. You should not go to listen to it thinking that it's gonna disappoint you. You should just say, okay, this is never gonna live up to the hype of going over this album that I consider the best album of the decade.
But I will appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah, exactly. So you say, okay, it's not aiming to that. It's not gonna get that goal. So remove that goal. Put a real goal that it's, am I gonna enjoy this? It's gonna be good on its own. I think it's really good. And then I talk to people and say, hey, I listened to the Dragonland album and I think it's really good. And they are like, oh yeah, it came out and I listened to it. You're a Dragonland fan. You liked it, right? And they are like, it's good, but it's Dragonland. It should be, the Great Banner is better. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Like, enjoy it.
You know, maybe like now, maybe they're back in the swing of things now. Maybe they'll get another album out in less than 11 years, and they'll be, they'll be warmed up now. In 2031, we'll be ready to go, and then they'll do another fantasy album. You know, go back to those roots, and everything will be great. But hey, the title track of The Pirate of the Night Star has this really catchy chorus that they kick off the song with, and I really like it.
Yeah.
And really, that's all I can ask for. Yeah, this album, I think I'm more sympathetic towards it because it's really spacey. It's a space power metal, and we had a Chaldean album this year that was very much not space power metal. So it's making up for that.
Yeah, I guess.
Fair enough.
Gotta fill that hole.
Exactly. So let's fill the hole with a album that's extremely long named, Avantasia's A Paranormal Evening with the Moonflower Society.
Okay, so whenever I read that title, where I just see it, because it's so long you need to read it, you know what album it is, just by how many words there are in there.
How many big mystical sounding words there are.
They're very flowery.
We really do be living in a society with moonflowers and paranormal evenings.
Yeah, it makes me think of in The Simpsons. There's a movie that Troy McClure is going to make. That is something like
For the record, everybody, the Argentinian is making a Simpsons reference.
I know, but you know that's how it is. This is how it is. He's like the fantabulous invention of Professor Oz. It sounds very familiar. It's just a stupid dude with giant wings and goggles, and it has that same corny, funny vibe that is just like, this is funny because it's bad, and it was so hard to like remove that image from my head when listening to the album, because I was coming into it with like this idea of like, this is so hilariously corny.
I think that's part of what makes it so great. Is I think Toby takes this like very seriously, but to everybody else it comes off so corny and cheesy. But there's like a sincerity to it that really just makes it charming to me. It's campy.
It is campy, but I don't know. I remember the previous album, I wasn't that big into it.
Mm-hmm.
And this one kind of follows the same general path.
It is very similar to the previous album. Am I thinking Ghost Lights? No. Moonglow.
No, it's Moonglow.
These things seem so. They have similar style, like Tim Burton ass artwork. They've got similar sounding like mystical names. Like half the guests are the same. But
Yeah.
So it is, I think, a very safe album in that sense. But like personally, I like this style of Avantasia, so I'm happy to have some more of it a couple years later. I think I'd like Toby to mix up a bit more. Maybe like it seems like there's always like eras of Avantasia. So I was like, okay, there's like the metal opera era, then there's like the Scarecrow, Angel, and whatever era, and now we're in this like trilogy with like Ghostlights, Moonglow, Paranormal Evening, all kind of. They're all, you can find like that Avantasia through line, but it seems like there's a general style that each of these eras kind of goes through. And maybe after these 3 albums, like Toby will mix it up a bit more.
Do you think Ghostlights is similar to these last 2? I don't think so.
Not as much.
I would put the line Moonglow, Moonflower. Let's call it Moonflower.
It's just, it has a spooky name, so I included
it. Yeah, but I don't think it sounds the same. I think these 2 last albums are more rock sounding than anything else Avantasia has been doing. I think it's better in this one than in God damn it, Moonglow.
Man, we have it staring us right in the face and we're still getting confused about it.
I know, but it's Moonglow, Moonflower, and then you brought up Ghostlights and then like everything's confusing. So I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of this album. I was not the biggest fan of the previous album. But there are very good moments all throughout. And I know you like it.
I think this is one where I'm less inclined to listen to the album as a whole. But there are specific, just really big highlights for me. One of the songs with Floor Jansen, Kill the Pain Away, I think is really fun. The way Toby and Floor's voices really work together with this sort of like punchy, upbeat rock track is really fun. I love the like twinkly happiness of the song The Moonflower Society with Bob Catley. I think that hits the like mystical vibe that Toby is going for just the best. It kind of has this like Disney gothic, if they did like metal, if like, you know, they just turned up the intensity on their music a little bit more, then it would be something like a track like The Moonflower Society. Yeah. I think the part of the album I'm most conflicted on was probably the closing track, Arabesque.
Yeah.
Because on paper, I should love this.
No.
It's a long, because
it doesn't work.
It's an Avantasia long song. They're usually really good at long songs. It's Jorn and Michael Kiske, you know, absolute goats, especially with these Avantasia long songs. But this one, and it kind of mixed it up a bit with some different sounding style or different sounding instrumentation. But it just never comes together for me like all of their other songs do. Like it feels like it's building to something, but never gets there.
Yeah, it's like it's half baked.
Yeah,
for me, it's weak.
Because like I think about like the title track for The Scarecrow, or like even just on the last album, Raven Child is fucking great.
Yeah,
great. Sure, it has Hansi, and they didn't bring Hansi back. See, that's the problem. Didn't bring back.
You think
Hansi.
That's the problem?
It's a problem.
Hansi has he done any other song before that?
No, that's what made Moonglow so exciting. It's the first Avantasia album with Hansi.
Because Hansi was, if this was Marvel and DC, like Hansi is in Arion.
Like the Marvel and DC of Avantasia versus Arion.
Yeah,
and like because like on the source, like it has both Toby and Hansi in those songs, so it's like they were, you know, just that 1 degree of separation, but they never actually did this until Moonglow.
Yeah, here I don't know. Like, obviously, I think all the vocalists are obviously great on the album, but like we mentioned before, sometimes the material is not there, and a great performance is not enough.
Yeah, it seems weird because this was the album that Toby wrote during lockdown after like all the touring for the last album. He's like, oh man, this is like my perfect vision. I had so much control and so much time to focus on this. I wonder if he might have had too much. Maybe did Toby get lost in the sauce or something?
I don't know. I don't think that's. I think that this can happen, and that's it. And I don't think there's that much weight to put on the circumstances
Mhm.
when in this way, because like obviously as a songwriter, if you're talking about the new album that you're making, you will only talk about it when you think and you feel that this is the greatest thing you've ever done, because otherwise you would not be doing it and promoting it. So that's fine. But then we look at it and we say, oh, maybe this didn't work as much because it was not. But I don't think that's the case. I think this is like the previous one and this one. I could go like, oh, yeah, I see the through line. I see what he's doing.
Right.
I personally don't think it's that great or that much to my liking, but I don't think it's that different in like the style of it compared to Moonglow.
Yeah, I think if you take like the songs with the same singers, so like Requiem for a Dream on Moonglow and then The Inmost Light on Paranormal Evening, you can like sure they have the same singers with like the same guest and Toby, but I think just stylistically you can see, okay, is Toby just writing towards things that he thinks they're strong at, or is it just that's what he's kind of like pigeonholed that singer into?
And of course, this is still a widely loved and successful album. So
Yeah,
we're just like
I'm bitching and nitpicking over here, but I've listened.
Yeah,
to
we're basically nitpicking, and the fact that we're talking about it in this episode
because we care
means that you should probably check it out if you haven't.
I don't give bad
Just in
recommendations.
Exactly. It's certified good recommendations from Kyle on.
Exactly. Pure recommendations. And nothing's pure than recommending an album that I put a lot of money into. So I want to talk briefly about Galderia. Galderia is a French power metal band. I was a huge fan of their album in 2017, Return of the Cosmic Men. And they announced they're doing a crowdfunding for their next album, Endless Horizon. I'm like, all right, I am there. Let's do this. These guys have like a super happy, uplifting style of power metal. I think on this album, Endless Horizon, they still have a very similar like happiness, a lot of choirs on there, kind of like a Freedom Call-ish style band. I think I like them better than Freedom Call these days. I think the guitars got a bit heavier on this album, which I think might turn some people off because it kind of turns the knob down a little bit on the cheesy happiness. But I appreciate it either way. And I've had a lot of fun with this album.
So I missed the funding campaign for this. And I actually, again, have not listened to it. I'm sorry. I have one question for you, Kyle, about this album that it's very important to me personally.
Okay.
Did they put more Eurobeat into it? Did they put more Eurobeat into it?
I think they moved away from the Eurobeat a little bit, which that I don't doubt your abilities to turn it into Eurobeat. But that's more your domain than mine.
No, but I remember, did we even talk about this in the show at any point? Many years ago, we were listening to Return of the Cosmic Man 2.0. Was that the name of it?
I think so, the song.
Something like that. Yeah, and we listened to it and we felt, hey, this sounds like Eurobeat, but it's just missing some of the synths. So I tweaked it. I just added them just as a joke. And I actually sent that to the Galderia page in YouTube. And I remember telling them, like, you should just go full Eurobeat for your next album.
And they didn't do it.
And they replied something like, oh, yeah, we actually, we could, because they were actually thinking about that when they were doing that song, that version of Return of the Cosmic Man, or something like that. I don't remember. I had to find it somewhere. And I hope that they would lean into that more whenever they did something.
They did not. No, maybe pandemic pushed them away from it.
Yeah, maybe kill the vibes. Yeah,
kill the Eurobeat vibes. It's not a Eurobeat time these days, Fernando.
I mean, yeah, there should be. It should be. Why not? We need to. It's time to get out, get into your car,
and start drifting.
Start doing donuts, yeah, or something. Maybe not on the street. Maybe on a racetrack or an abandoned parking lot. I don't know. But we need fun and excitement. It's good stuff. But well, okay.
There's
So
still
this
fun and
album
excitement to be had here. It's just I don't think it falls into the Eurobeat category.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I can forgive it. It's
Okay.
fine. It's perfectly fine.
This
I
is
will
forgiven.
check it out as part of your recommendations.
Yeah, I think my favorite songs are I think the first two, Answer the Call and Striking the Earth. Burning Higher is another really fun one on there too.
Okay.
They kind of will go back and forth between like sort of like the faster or more epic songs and then the more like anthemic slower ones. Maybe you can find a spot to remix a song. I'll leave that up to you.
No, I'm not gonna do that. No, that's too much work. It's fine. It's fine.
All right. There are a couple more bands I'll talk about rather briefly. An album that I was kind of surprised by is by the band Induction. They had their, I think it was their second album, Born from Fire.
Mm.
This band is noteworthy to me in that their guitarist is a little baby Tim Hansen, who is Kai Hansen's son.
That's okay. Okay. Yeah, I knew this sounded familiar from somewhere. Yeah, I heard about this.
Yeah, it's like a pretty energetic symphonic power metal album. There's a like, very surprised. I thought this would be a very like straightforward like German riffiness album, but there's more symphonic stuff than I was expecting.
Mm.
But I think it balances those elements pretty well, which can sometimes be tough to do. Some of the songs are very fun. The song "Go to Hell" almost gave me like Beast in Black vibes.
Ooh.
But very enjoyable album, I would say. I think the first half probably stronger than the second, but it's generally enjoyable all the way through.
Cool.
Did you check this one out? It's I think it kind of flew under the radar towards the end of the year.
So
because it is end of November, it looks like.
I'm pretty sure I listened to. Did they have a single or just
probably
a live show or something?
Queen of Light, yeah.
Yeah, Queen of Light
was a single.
Yeah, I think I listened to that when it came out. Because I remember people talking about, oh yeah, this is Tim Hansen's band, whatever. And yeah, it was Induction. And looking at the picture, I recognized them.
You can see like the elements of Kai in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's cool. I didn't listen to the whole album. I didn't know it came out at all. I listened to that single when it came out and just forgot, as I do.
Yeah, if you want some just kind of like straightforward but good time symphonic power metal, I think you'll have fun with this.
I like that.
I'd say it's not revolutionary in any way. You know, this is power metal. What are we gonna do?
We should not be like that. We should try to revolutionize power metal, but it's hard to make it work. Very hard.
For sure. All right, and then one last very random band I want to recommend is Vis Mystica. They had an EP called Celestial Wisdom, which is a Star Wars themed, pretty intense power metal album. I guess power is the best genre for it. They kind of throw in some other little bits there. Also features some fun cameos, including Jonas from Dragonland and Ty from Lords of the Trident.
Oh,
so just and it was produced by Chad from Helion Prime. So we're just grabbing people from everywhere, throwing them in a Star Wars fucking blender.
I see.
And having a grand old time with it. That was, I think, probably one of might be the most underground release I've recommended on here so far.
Yeah, only one song has over 1,000 plays.
Yeah, I got emails about it from one of the like promotional things that we get from the podcast, and I'm like, that sounds interesting. And the songs are actually, I thought, were pretty good. The production's a little inconsistent, I'd say. I think it's like the fourth song, Lux et Veritas, like is like noticeably more quiet than the other ones.
Oh.
So then when you go back into the last song, it's like, what the fuck is going on?
Oh, no.
Yeah, I mean, it's little things like that. Yeah,
that's very unfortunate.
You know, get past that. I think the songs themselves are very good. I especially like the song with Ty on it. And also a David Michael Moot is another guest. All kinds of people on this album. Very unusual project, but one I'm glad exists.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. It's cool. I don't think. Do we have? Is there more Star Wars power metal going around?
Every now and then, it's not. I feel like Star.
It's not a universe that's explored as much as
no, definitely not. Ones. Normally, you get like fantasy or book based stuff.
Star Wars is fantasy.
It is, space fantasy basically.
It's still fantasy.
The best Star Wars power metal song is the one that has Hansi as Palpatine.
Sweet.
Did you know this exists?
No.
Okay, I gotta find. I always forget the name of it. I saw someone mention it on the Power Metal Reddit once. And I'm like, holy shit! It might have been Alicia. Solar something, I think.
Yeah, Solar Fragment.
Yeah, Solar Fragment is the band.
Inside the Circle.
Yeah, it's their top song, I think. Inside the Circle. That one's about Star Wars, and it has Hansi as Palpatine, which is amazing.
Oh my god! From 2011, I'm gonna check.
Yeah, it's like it's so random, but I love it.
Yeah, what the hell? This is great. I'm gonna check it. I'm saving this.
I wonder.
This is a great find.
Yeah, it's such a random thing that I never would have thought to do, but you know, this is the episode of crossovers.
Apparently, yeah. I guess I'm gonna check everything that you've been recommended. It's only.
I only give good recommendations, Fernando. I told you.
I know, and I need to make up for all my incompleteness.
All right, yeah,
like the second half of 2022.
Yeah. I didn't get to tell you about Super Monster Party. You know, there are a bunch of nerds from like Florida or some shit who make power metal about video games, and it's really cool. I listened to them a bunch this year when someone in Discord recommended them. I keep trying to push them for Mad with Power because I think they fit perfectly. All right, so I think that's all the albums I wanted to recommend from this year. If your favorite album didn't make the list, too bad. I'm sorry. But Fernando, now that we've discussed a bunch of stuff, what is the album of the year? What if maybe you got a top 5, maybe you got a top 3 or 1 or 20? What really encapsulates 2022 in power metal for you?
So this is always very hard for me.
Mm-hmm.
I am very bad at picking a favorite, at like ranking stuff. I usually just listen to music and then
you're a content creator though. You need hot takes.
It's my brain doesn't work like that. I just put albums, I put songs. I don't look at who is who. I barely understand the lyrics sometimes. I need to check them later, maybe if I feel like it. And on 2022, I listened to a bunch of new power metal on the first half of the year, as we just heard in the second half of the year, not that much. So it's really, I don't know. It's like very hard for me to really find a way to just say that Blind Guardian is the best album of the year and that Glory Hammers Fly Away is the best song of the year. That's it.
You know what? That's fair. I want you to like what you like. And Blind Guardian and Sozos are things I could never belittle a man for liking.
Yeah, it's very, I don't know. It's just the easiest thing I can think of just because.
Follow your heart.
So there's this thing though that I gotta admit. Blind Guardian's album is not the power metal album from 2022 that I listened to the most, but it also had less time to allow for that.
That's important, yeah.
Because Fellowship came out in 2022.
It did. Talk about big releases.
I listened to the full Fellowship album an insane amount of times that are not even tracked because I listen to it mostly from my local download, which is not, I don't keep tabs on that.
Right.
And even with that, it's still on my top albums in Last.fm. So I listen to it a lot.
I think I'm in the exact same boat. I did a lot of listens of the local version because that's the one that we got for the press copy. That like even with that, it's still one of my top albums from Spotify this year because it's just like, damn, I listen to this a lot because it's really fucking good and it appeals very specifically to my taste. So yeah, Fellowship would be my album of the year.
Yeah, so it's like I am torn a bit because I feel like I really like the Blind Guardian album, and I feel like I really like having such a big name doing this kind of album that's still a power metal album, but it's not 100% the current style. It's not the current meta at all.
Oh, no. Like, it's very much like off meta, and I love that.
Yeah, I think it's very important that we have that because when all the big releases and all the best albums are all doing the same, that's when your genre starts to feel a bit stale, which is a common complaint in power metal.
Yes.
But it probably happens to everyone in every genre.
Sure.
So I really like that such a big name with such an anticipated release made an album that people actually liked, that is actually good, and it's not in the trends of everything else.
Yeah, it
Like,
can
by a
feel
lot.
both like familiar and relatively fresh for that band as well, who's been around for 40 years.
Yeah, and I think that even if people listen to that album and that's the first Blind Guardian album they ever hear, they'll probably like it. And if they like it, like they will feel like, oh, now I can look at all this stuff. But like I think it works. It's not just oh, I love Blind Guardian, so it's the best album.
Mhm.
It actually stands on its own. So I think that's very important, and that's why I feel it's a more important album overall in general. But then again,
Yeah, I think putting Fellowship and Blind Guardian up there as like the two favorites of the year, two extremes of like the brand new, little babies from fuck off England, and then the old German bastards who just keep it cranking and are just gonna do their thing, and they're the best at it.
Yeah, I love these 2 points of power metal. I love that we have the absolute, like, the logical result of all these years of adding orchestra to stuff and making it more twinkly and more clean and having the best vocalists that we can find. But also we still have this more slightly crude, but still very clean, more raw heavy metal energy.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like two dudes dressed differently at the same party, basically, and they still hang out and have fun.
Yeah, because they're both dumb fantasy nerds.
Yeah, and you can tell like they are stylistically very different enough that it's like, oh, this is like a wide. I am very eclectic, you could say, listening to these two albums, but you can still find the similarities deep in there.
Speaking of crossovers, as this has now been dubbed the year of crossovers, and dumb fantasy nerds, I think Planeswalker is also definitely up there.
Planeswalker is so definitely up there. It's insane.
I actually listened to that in like the end of 2021 with like the early version of it. So it feels weird to be like, oh yeah, that's this year. Now in 2023.
The album came out in like January, right? 2022.
Yeah, and we got the early copy in December 2021.
Yes, and then they had a song before that. So we've been listening to them a lot. It's like, for a long time now.
When is Planeswalker is a good question.
Yeah, I think that the song was the title track. I think it's the best one. It's my favorite, at least.
It's one of my favorites for sure. Like for like song of the year, I'm gonna include probably like Skylark. I'll put Blood of the Elves, and I'll probably put Tales of Magic in there.
Tales of Magic, that was the song. Yeah, the same name as the album.
Yeah, it's a soundtrack. Yeah,
Tales of Magic, I think that's one of these songs that make the genre fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Because it feels just like if you ever listen to Sonata Arctica and you like that, you will like Tales of Magic.
Well, Sozos likes
There's a lot
Sonata
of that
Arctica.
Sozos is a scholar in Sonata Arctica.
He's covered half their discography on his YouTube channel.
Yeah. I gotta confess, I actually listened to a bunch of songs, just the Sozos version instead of the original. But this song, it also has so many things that are not usual in power metal in how it's written, and I love that. It makes the genre feel fresh,
mm-hmm.
and that's very important. I really like that. Like we said before, it's hard. It feels like it's hard to innovate in power metal because we hear a bunch of bands that sometimes try something very kind of wonky and it doesn't work, or are just not at a level where they can actually deliver their vision. Sometimes it feels like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we end up dismissing stuff. And then we have stuff like, oh, these all 5 bands sound the same, whatever, which will happen. It's a genre. That's the whole joke. But this is a great song that brings a lot of freshness to the whole thing, to the whole genre.
Mm-hmm.
And the album is good in general. I don't like the cover song.
I
think that should not be there, like we mentioned.
Yeah.
It should not be there at all. Or it's because it's way too different stylistically. It's way more different than in the Dragonland album. But then Tales of Magic, if we make a list, let's make a list of songs of the year, because just one song of the year is, I think it's too it's just too reductive. There's no point doing that. So I would say Tales of Magic, Fly Away, that is also Soso's singing.
Right.
For me, Violent Shadows from the Blind Guardian album. I still prefer that song. I fell in love with it in the live show.
For sure.
But you can change that for your favorite song from the God Machine.
Yeah, for me that'd be Blood of the Elves. Both of those songs are based on book series I like, so that's fun.
Great.
With
that's power metal delivering.
Yeah, right. Stormlight and the
delivering
Witcher.
On his promise.
Thanks, Hansi. You're the best. I think my most listened to song, at least looking at the Fellowship album, Saint Beyond the River, of like the new songs, is the one I think I've put on repeat the most. Maybe because it's just stupidly catchy or something. I've also really liked Till the Fires Die and Oak and Ash. Scars and Shrapnel Wounds grows on me.
Yeah, it's so hard to
it's hard to pick just one. And then obviously there's Glint and Glory Days, which like think
if
about
we keep them out.
We kicked them out because we've been listening to them for years. But like a new fan who just gets exposed to Fellowship with that album, they're gonna have all these new songs on top of Glory Days and Glint. It's like, motherfucker, this is a damn good album.
It's insane. So Glory Days is still my most listened to song in 2022 from Fellowship because I just love it so much. It's my favorite song of them. But after that, I just have Oak and Ash and Scars and Shrapnel Wounds.
That one's like,
I just love them. I love anime. Sorry,
yeah, Scars and Shrapnel Wounds is super anime.
I just love anime. So it's like I cannot fight it. It's written for me, and I will not accept any other theories.
That's
like,
fair. That's fair.
That's how it is. And man, so I would put any of those two as song of the year, taking into account that Glory Days and Glint are older songs, even though they are included in this album.
Yeah, that's all fair.
And it's like, like what can you do? It's just up there. I just love them.
I think my favorite song title of the year I'm gonna give to Necronomicon and Speedrunning from My Problems. They win.
That's something everyone. A lot of people can want to like feel identified with that.
For sure. They win lyrics of the year and songs of the year and song titles of the year.
Do we have more silly like prizes to give?
There's
awards.
Best Argentinian pretending to be a Spanish pirate goes to Ailstorm on Wooden Lake Part 3.
Yeah, that was in 2022, man. That was fun. It was recorded way earlier than that. And I fucked up one of the S's. Like I'm
no one's gonna care except for you, and that's all that matters.
And that guy,
and that one guy in the comments.
That one guy in the comments on YouTube that actually noticed.
You're gonna track that motherfucker down.
I am sorry to the country of Spain. I tried my best and I failed, but it's not that much of a failure. It's just an accent. I don't know. Do we have? I remember we used to do a bunch of awards. I think in our first album of the year episode, we were looking at like the.
I usually do like I like to do a most improved, which I think for me this year would be Brymir, because all their previous albums I take like 2 songs and like, all right, I'm not gonna listen to any of the other rest of the album. Whereas this time it's like, all right, fuck it, I'll pretty much the whole album. Like I'll have my like 5 favorites or whatever, but it was much stronger than the previous stuff. So I'm gonna give it to Brymir for most improved. And just,
I don't think
this is such a fun year. I think of power metal. We got crossovers, we got comebacks, we got debuts. It's all there. It's all there.
We have some. We also have not in releases, but we've seen some bands like changing. New bands are starting for next year. Well, this year now because we're in 2023 already. So some movements around there. It's the year that technically, let's call it the year that Sosos joined Gloryhammer. Because that's when they released their song. Even though I think they started playing in December.
And just kind of looking ahead to 2023, we had so much stuff in 2022, but I think 2023 has also got a pretty strong start here. Even if these albums don't turn out great, I think they'll be interesting, and I'm looking forward to what the bands do. Camelot is a relatively big name coming up. They're also going to be coming to the US, so yay for that. Ascension is theoretically has an album coming out in February. Finally, maybe. Speaking of comebacks, Love Bites is finally coming back. They've got new bassist Fuki, who is not Fernando.
Oh, yeah.
They put a couple singles out that are sounding good.
Yeah. So, I forgot about that. We got a new Love Bites single. When did that come out?
We got 2.
2023? We have 2.
Yeah, they didn't even promote the second one. It might have been a mistake.
I only saw saw one.
Yeah, so Judgment Day was like the actual single.
Yeah.
But then there's another one called The Spirit Lives On, which is on Spotify.
Oh my god, I need to check that out.
Yeah,
that is so cool.
It wasn't promoted. There's no video on YouTube, so I almost think it's a mistake. But it's a good song.
Oh
and it sounds like they haven't really missed a beat with the bassist change and the hiatus. So I'm happy.
And also they got a great bassist. Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
Some of us knew the new bassist because she has a YouTube channel where she's been uploading covers of stuff, and in some things she sings and does.
Seems like a very easy fit.
Yeah, and she's like the hook of her channel was that she dances a lot while playing bass, so she has all the style points for the live shows.
Yeah,
and she's actually a good player. And so, and it was a surprise, honestly, to see that confirmed that it was her. It was like, oh, it's that girl that I am subscribed to.
Yeah, already invested.
Sweet. It's like, it's the year of crossovers, basically. Again, striking again.
I'm really sad that I didn't even dub it the year of crossovers until the year was over.
Yeah.
I did a podcast episode.
But we're doing now retroactively. We're retconning everything. So 2022 was the year of crossovers. When someone asks,
yeah,
remember to tell them.
Yeah.
In Power Metal, 2022 was the year of the crossovers.
Exactly. All right. A few other things coming out next year. Galderia was also teasing something for this year. That'll be sick because they crank stuff out for like every 2 years, and they're due for
They
it.
released all the data already. So
did I miss that? Oh wait, no, that was with the live show announcement. I was just like,
I posted it.
I was distracted by the live show stuff that I was not thinking about.
Yeah, Galderia is gonna release on March 1st, on a Wednesday.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's called Between the Dread and Valor.
Hell,
all in caps, of course.
Of course, it's all in caps.
It has to be, and they have. It's gonna have 8 songs. One of the songs is what's that? A prayer. It's like I don't remember if it's a cover or if it's an anime song.
I think they're doing. I heard someone say they're doing another anime thing.
It's the ending for Valkyrie. That's what it is. It's on the album.
On top of that, Frozen Crown's got an album coming out called North. Twilight Force, I think it'll be out by the time this episode's done, depending on the editing, which I'm sure won't.
Yeah, yeah. Shut up. I'll do it. But yeah, Twilight Force will be out by the time you listen to the. Let me check. What's the date? Yeah. You just go and look for it. It's probably out.
Yeah, they have a song with a Mario Sunshine breakdown, which is.
Yeah.
Why not?
I love that everyone instinctively thought of Mario Sunshine with it. But independently. But I also think that also shows where
shows how good Mario Sunshine is.
Yeah, but it's like a style of it's a kind of I'm gonna see something wrong right now because I don't remember exactly how it went. But it's like a style of music that it's from like the Caribbean southwards in America. So I don't think of Mario Sunshine.
For all the fucking millennial losers who listen to power metal, they have that association from playing Mario Sunshine in the early 2000s.
Yeah, but it's cool, and the video was fun with the game and everything. Grinding levels. I don't think grinding levels matched with that particular song.
Yeah, I was surprised to see level grinding to the Mario Sunshine part. But, fuck it.
It felt more like exploration, but it's fine. The music is good.
Yeah, and I think Brothers of Metal will maybe have a new album this year.
Probably. Why
Probably.
not?
Yeah, they're due. It's been a while. Ilva needs to leave them and join a better band, but it will be fun.
Yeah. Man, so many things to look forward to. A bunch of live shows. I have 3 live shows lined up for the next 3 months, finally, which Rhapsody. I love. I am finally going to use the Rhapsody ticket that I bought at the end of 2019.
When you finally use that, do they take the entire ticket? Do you get a stub back? Can you frame this?
They get this. They get just a piece. So I'm gonna keep it. I keep all my tickets, except
this is a legendary ones, ticket.
But yeah, I haven't looked at it. I am afraid of it just having dissolved or something.
Yeah,
I need to go check on it.
Dusted, fucking Thanos snapped out of oblivion.
Yeah. So I'm going to see Rhapsody in 2 weeks. Which is funny because it's to really learn a Rhapsody, but they are still doing the farewell tour. The farewell tour will never stop because
farewell
it's the same
for 5 years,
the same set list. I don't know if they even play a song out of Zero Gravity.
They didn't for me, no.
But I loved that show the last time, so I'm all for it.
Yeah, if they were doing it again in the US, I'd be there in a heartbeat. So go for it.
And then
even fucking Powerwolf is coming to the US for I think the first time. So
yeah,
that's kind of a big deal for the people around here.
Definitely.
Seven Spires is going to be touring Europe with Twilight Force. I think that'll be cool for everyone.
I
who
would
gets to see
love
that.
to see that.
Yeah, that would be a hell of a show.
I'm gonna check. I have Angra with Azeroth. Then later I bought an article.
That's such a Latin American show.
Well, yeah, I gotta take it. And there's something else in for. Oh, I wasn't sure if I was gonna go, but it was Antarctica, and the advertising the ad says doing a special classics set list, which I think is
Sonata's
just
doing special classics.
I think it's just bait.
It might be. Like, even if they just play nothing but shit from Tavio, they're gonna put Full Moon at the end, and it'll be worth it for that.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. Like, I'm like thinking. I was like debating myself. I didn't buy the ticket yet because I'm thinking, do I want to see?
Have you seen Sonata?
I have never seen Sonata live.
Oh, you gotta at least go, even if it's a shit set list.
But
they'll play Full Moon?
But it feels like they play those old songs out of. Everyone says that they kind of play them half-assed because they don't like them. They don't want to play them anymore. So I don't know. I don't want to go see it jaded.
Nothing.
No, I don't think so. I'm not sure. And it's a bit too expensive for the two local bands, but I do like the local band. I like Arena Project more. I don't know. I'll see. I'll probably go and just whatever. And if Sonata sucks, I'll just leave. Whatever. Like an old grumpy person.
Of course. You just gotta stand in the back, cross your arms, and nod.
Yeah. Dragon Force is writing an album.
Oh yeah, Dragon Force was teasing stuff for this year because their last album was right before COVID. So, they've had all this time, quit streaming.
Yeah.
They're ready. Fucking TikTok memeing, whatever Herman Lee's up to these days.
Yeah, who knows? I lost track of all his shenanigans. He's more attuned to Gen Z, I guess, than we are.
Which is funny for how old they are at this point, but I respect the effort.
Yeah, but they're not that much older than us, right? How old is
you say
Herman?
Us?
Well, you know what I mean. Like Herman is 46. He's not that.
He's got like 20 years on me.
Yeah, I know. He could be your dad, but I don't know.
Like Hansi, I think Hansi is like actually the age of my parents, like all the Blind Guardian guys.
No, Hansi is older. That's the comparison. Like,
yeah, they're like mid to late 50s.
Yeah, Hansi is 56 years old. That's big dad energy. It's unavoidable.
Yeah, I think my mom's 56. I think.
I think. Okay. So lots of stuff to look forward to. So you can pick your album of the year from our selection. You can pick your song of the year from our selection. I think we gave a top 4 songs of the year, actually, which is very fitting because
top 4, the Elite 4,
the Elite 4 of 2022, the year of the crossover. Yes.
Alrighty, I think I can live with that.
Yeah. And it was also one song from each band, so it was the top 4 power metal bands of 2022. Amazing.
Alrighty.
We did it. So,
all right. We did it after all this time. We did we did the end of 2022 relatively efficiently, if I might add.
Yeah, actually. Yeah, this episode isn't that long. That's amazing.
And you still have to take a phone call in the middle. It's going to be even less.
Yeah, we had interruptions, but this is great. All right,
I'm going to go eat some leftover pizza.
You deserve that leftover pizza.
Hell yeah.
You actually deserve more, but that's something. For surviving the storm.
Yeah. And I was riding the storm. Call me running wild. It's a good song.
Recording this podcast like the hero you are, against all odds.
Yeah, shout out to Californians. Hope you survived.
Yeah, hope that if you live in California, that you're fine, that you didn't have to deal with it. But if you had to, hope everything gets better as soon as possible.
All these storms are just our hubris for making fun of the rest of the country for freezing during Christmas.
Yeah, I guess it's like, I don't know. Now I'm thinking like, who's next? Because we had like the whole freezing in Texas. Remember?
It was everywhere. And it wasn't just Texas.
Yeah, but remember that the thing that happens in the place where it shouldn't happen, because Texas was not ready for freezing temperatures. Yeah. So all the pipes exploded and they were
California's
out of power.
Not ready for flooding.
California's not ready for rains, and they have like 6 storms all at the same time, fucking everything up.
Yeah.
So now I don't know what's next. Like a drought, like in the north and sun
in the northwest or something.
yeah, like a heat wave in the north or something. I don't know. It's like,
Well, they actually already got that. I think like Seattle was fucked up earlier. But anyway that's enough.
Enough
weather.
disaster. Yeah,
Listen to power metal. That's pretty cool.
yeah, it's pretty cool. Go listen to it, and most of all, stay powerful.
Stay powerful.